Bills Mafia, today we are going to be talking about an ascending player on our roster that's a second-year wide receiver. We all know who it is. It's Keon Coleman. This isn't a guy who's just developing into be a better wide receiver. He's a guy who might actually be the one who changes Joe Brady's offense going into this 2025 NFL season. We've been seeing the highlights from training camp. We've been seeing the highlights from joint practices that this guy has such great precision and timing on lock with Josh Allen, and he's getting sharper on shorter routes. He's catching the ball, and he's got a red zone polish that we've been wanting to see ever since we drafted him. This might ultimately lead the Buffalo Bills offense to be an offense that goes from dangerous to downright unstoppable. GM Brandon Beane is the one who said it, that he is an ascending talent. Keon Coleman is ascending to be the next star of the Buffalo Bills. But I want to show you guys this clip from something that Dion Dawkins said. Check this out.
I'm gonna tell you the truth. It's night and day. It is night and day. It is night and day, or a sunny day and a storm, if you want to put it in any way. Keon is not the same player from last year, so the league better get ready. You know, he is not the same guy. And as a teammate, I am so glad that he picked it up so early, because he is not the same player. And I'm just glad that Josh has him, as well as the Buffalo Bills, because Keon has showed up in every bit of where we needed him to show up at, from training camp to being on time to checking in to dinner to checking in to lunch to being available. You know, he's been a fully changed Keon, and I'm happy to be his teammate and for him to just keep learning, because he is going to be special, and he already is. He already is, but this is Keon's time, and you'll see it.
Dion Dawkins says that this is Keon's time, that he has leveled up, and this is ultimately to go to show that this isn't just, you know, what we see in practices isn't just coach speak. It's not just what players are saying, but it's actually the rubber meeting the road of a player who's getting hyped up by his general manager, his coach, his teammates, his offensive coordinator, that are saying, this guy is here to play. He's a gamer. This guy is here to produce. Again, the play on the field is actually matching what we are seeing out of Keon Coleman. And I believe Keon Coleman's growth is going to spark a change again in the offensive system that Joe Brady has established. But hey, we're going to get into all this today, but my name is Colin. This is all Bills, no breaks, crack the table, and this is an opportunity for us just to hang out, talk Bills football. And if you love Bills daily content, make sure to hit the like and subscribe. It really helps us keep building this community that we're building. We always, I just invite you, make comments. I'm going to ask some questions in the video. Put your comments down below. Shout out to all the homies already subscribed and already engaging, but just want to let you guys know I respond to every single comment, and it means a lot if you just take 2 seconds, hit the like, hit subscribe. But today we're going to continue digging into how he's had this camp explosion, Keon Coleman has, and how this second-year player could jump and ultimately unlock a new tier of this offensive system in 2025 for the Buffalo Bills. But again, the headline is simple and the headline is clear. Keon Coleman is ascending as a player, and he's ascending as a talent. Again, the highlight is a 2-minute drill rep earlier this summer, where he had a sharp route. He hauled in a back shoulder catch from Josh Allen in the corner of the red zone, and it was crisp. It was confident. It's got huge wide receiver one energy. And all summer, and all training camp, and all joint practices, Keon Coleman has looked every bit of this ascending talent that we're hearing about. In 2024, he had 19 catches, or 19 yards per catch across 13 games. A breakout 125-yard game against Tennessee, but that's really nothing to scoff at, right? He was a splash rookie play, just one at a time, right? You get the ball and we're like, it's happening. But this summer has been different. He's been consistent. He's been sharper in the red zone. He's more polished in and out of breaks on short and even intermediate routes. He's showing us that he wasn't just some high athletic, go route kind of player who's running wind sprints up and down the field, but he's ultimately a player that can be precise, that can grow as a route runner and as a disciplined, intentional player. One fan even said this on Twitter. He said, Keon Coleman only playing one season tells us all that we need to know about how big of a year he is going to have. Now, I want to show you again just this clip. Look on the screen here. Look at this clip from Josh Allen in practice last week. on August 21st, throws it. Damar Hamlin in coverage. The ball is grabbed. Keon Coleman falls right into the end zone. Touchdown Bills. Ball being brought down the field. That's easy, 6 points. And honestly, there has been highlight after highlight after highlight of this combination of Josh Allen and Keon Coleman linking up for big plays down the field. One of the things that even Keon Coleman admitted last year that he was a little scared of Josh Allen, but what we're seeing from Josh Allen as a result in this preseason throughout this entire summer is that Josh Allen is beginning to trust this young receiver. And even Anthony from Cover One, we see it on the screen here, he's just like, I've lost count of how many times Josh Allen and Keon Coleman have been growing in their timing and execution and just they're on point together regularly. Again, here's the key. It's not just about practice highlights and it's not just about plays from joint practices with other teams. Pause. It's about Joe Brady's offensive system unlocking him, right? The beautiful thing that we can just pause and recognize is that this guy ascending as a second-year receiver, unlocking his new ability as a route runner, unlocking his new ability as a pass catcher, someone who actually gets the ball in, holds it tight, doesn't drop it, is that it's going to change the offensive system. Again, last year per PFF, 34% of his routes just came basically on 9 routes, just came on go routes. He was running 20 yards. Keon Coleman was running 20 yards down the field, and frankly, Khalil Shakir was getting all the targets as a result of it. Keon Coleman was just getting defenses out, and Khalil Shakir was eating. But we saw, I think even similarly, things like this happen to guys like Marvin Harrison last year, where he was just not put in a position to succeed. And so everybody around him, all the national media pundits, everyone speaking is like, all the talking heads are like, this guy's not very good. He's not doing anything. No, look at the system. Look at the context. Look at how he was used. And in 2025, pairing Keon Coleman's natural progression as a catcher, as a route runner, as someone who's not a rookie anymore and who understands the system, he's going to become a more complete receiver that Joe Brady can unlock. Yeah, you could look at it last year and be like, oh, it was a coaching issue. They didn't put him in a position to succeed. No, he's just a rookie player that was getting assimilated into the offensive system. Again, Brady even said this offseason of Keon Coleman that he was standing out. He said he was using, the word he used was intentionality, right? He's becoming more of a precise route runner each and every day. His separation's getting better, and according to just reports, his hands are getting better too. And it's only a matter of time until we see all of these reports translating onto field play and on the field production, which ultimately, again, leads to touchdowns, which leads to wins, which leads to playoff berths, which you know where that goes, right? I remember watching Keon Coleman even just a couple of years ago at the scouting combine, and just watching him dominate with his athleticism and size, and the combination of those is just incredible. But he might actually have the tools and the system, the usage, the skills and production to become an elite wide receiver one in the NFL. Not just a scheme fit, not just a camp body, a guy who dominates and leads the NFL in something like receiving yards or even touchdowns. I think touchdowns could be a very valuable thing for him, especially if the red zone play between him and Josh Allen really is locked down. But one of the coolest things I think this does to our offense is it makes Josh Allen have another outlet, another guy who he doesn't have to force the ball to. Josh Allen doesn't have to play hero ball anymore because we're seeing an ascending route runner. Again, this is a guy who when he gets his hands on the ball down the field and catches the ball, he is a yards after catch monster. He is going to create opportunities for big yards after catch. And not only that, you're going to have defensive backs not want to tackle him because of how big he is. Again, the ripple effect of these things is massive because if Keon takes the next step, it ultimately opens up the field for Khalil Shakir to eat more in the middle, Dalton Kincaid to be kind of a specialist and mercenary against linebackers and safeties, and also bringing Josh Palmer in, who I think is going to be primarily over Curtis Samuel and over Elijah Moore, going to be playing as kind of the deep route runner on our team, more of a technical, consistent deep route runner. After years of having like Diggs and Amari Cooper on our team, we're going to see, I think, ultimately the offense open back up. And I know Everybody's been eating in Buffalo, but we might see the ceiling blown off on this offense, where instead of Josh Allen throwing for 30 or 40 touchdowns, he might hit that 50 touchdown mark on top of his rushing ceiling, on top of James Cook being back and being explosive just as he has been. Yes, the drops this last year were a concern. Yes, his route running here and there was a concern, but this camp has been Keon Coleman has been so focused on the fundamentals. I think we are going to see a major improvement. Now, I want to talk about one more thing that is going to impact Keon Coleman, and it's ultimately what I think is actually going to change the entire offense of Buffalo. Now, in a couple days or a week or so, I want to make a video specifically on how this is going to change the offense in depth, and I want to break that down kind of personnel by personnel. But I want to acknowledge a couple things. Keon Coleman's leap as a second-year receiver is ultimately going to get him the ball more, but it's also going to be important for us to recognize who's throwing him the ball. Keon Coleman and Josh Allen are specimens of humans. They're both massive. They're both strong. They're both fast. Josh Allen, he's got a cannon arm. He's an elite improviser. He's a massive run threat, right? 12 touchdowns last year, 500 yards. But now he's got a receiver who he's got a level of consistency with that he can scramble with. He can move. He can get open. He can communicate with down the field, off schedule. That is going to be huge for the ceiling of our offense. But again, last year, when we looked at our offense, we ran 11 personnel like 55% of the time. But of course, being as productive as we were frankly the most efficient offense in 11 personnel, where we're running 3 receiver sets. But then in 12 personnel and 2 tight end sets, we were like ranked 19th in actual usage of this personnel system. But the 2 tight end sets also, we were very, very productive. We were one of the most efficient teams in that set. But then even the jumbo sets, the 6 offensive lineman sets, we were actually, check this out. And I think this is where something gets really fun here is nobody used the jumbo set more than Buffalo did last year. Yes, we might make an adjustment and have more 11 personnel this year, but we were averaging 6 yards per attempt or per play on jumbo sets and 13 touchdowns out of this. The league average is 3.5 yards. Okay. We were averaging 6 yards per play on this. The league average is 3.5 yards a play. But this is where, again, some of the things where we're shifting around personnel. We've got 2 dynamic tight ends. We've got a couple good running backs, especially James Cook. Our offensive line is deep and it's healthy. We're in a good place, right? This is going to give us a lot of motion and leverage opportunities where even last year, we were running motion 80% of the plays. The league average is like 50%, right? We are constantly creating mismatches, and a guy like Keon Coleman is going to take these opportunities and he's going to take them to the house. Again, this is where he can shine as an elite wide receiver 1. Some of these slants, some of these crossers, some of these dagger concepts, he can move probably around in the offensive line, in 11 personnel, or even in 12 personnel, or even in a jumbo set as a wide receiver, as an ISO receiver, and still make plays. The bottom line is this. We have just seen the development of a guy who can make any cornerback, any safety duo in the NFL scared. It's going to be a nightmare for them. Defensive coordinators are going to have to play and plan for them week in and week out. Kincaid, James Cook, Josh Allen, Shakir are going to eat. It's all wheels up for them as a result of Keon's ascension. But further, Keon Coleman is like, maybe this is a deep cut, Keon Coleman is like the 5th piece of the Exodia card, right? When he gets pulled out of that deck and he's playing, the whole game is over. Keon Coleman isn't simply stepping up. He might be the guy who changes, again, the ability for defensive coordinators to sleep on Saturday nights. They're going to have to change their game plan for Buffalo in 2025, and ultimately, it's going to be huge for our offense and our team. And not only that, it's going to be fun. We love cheering on Keon Coleman, but my challenge for you, my question for you, besides Josh Allen, who is going to be the most valuable offensive weapon for this team in 2025? Is Khalil Shakir still going to dominate our receiving core, or does Keon Coleman actually make an ascension? Is he going to be more productive even than James Cook, more than Dalton Kincaid? Is Keon Coleman going to prove all of the haters wrong? Again, I'm Colin. This is Crack the Table, daily Buffalo Bills talk. Make sure to like and subscribe. Stay locked in with us every single day. We're coming out with new content, and we want you to be a part of it. We'll see you tomorrow. Peace.